are live. Go ahead and call this special meeting to order for the Highland Park Pool presentation. This is Tuesday, April 7th, 2026 at 5:30. Now that we've called to order, the item number 2, Highland Park Pool presentation. Discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding proposed renovations to Highland Park Pool, including but not limited to construction costs, architectural and engineering services, design options, and project funding sources. Tinny Maker, Public Works Director.
Yes, Mayor and Council, I believe I'll just get right to it. I believe called Daniel up, GH2. We've worked diligently. They have, I would say, GH2 has. They've got a couple of options for us to look at, I believe, this evening.
Tinny, you want to talk real quick about the March 5th meeting we had with the Friends of Highland Park Pool and kind of what prompted the workshop today?
Okay, yes. So on March 5th, staff met with Friends of the Pool. We had some real good discussion, I feel like. Came to an agreement that we feel like could work to where gave us the option to give some guidance to GH2 to come up with these options. One of the options was maybe the pool that we originally designed with it kind of being the phase 1 option, and then a phase 2 option with just a 2,300 square foot swim pool area as a phase 2. Everybody seemed to be in agreement with that and thought that it was a good idea to try to take that approach. It gives time for additional funds to be raised through the process that they're working with and everything, and also gives us the chance to go ahead and get started and get moving forward with something to try to meet a upcoming schedule. So, you want to show your options?
Sure. And Mayor, Council, I'd also point out at this point we do have Carol Side here from the Parks Board as well as the Friends of Highland Park Pool. A couple members of the CIP committee. So at this time or at any point during the conversation, we're welcome to engage in that discussion or open up the dialogue for questions. Great. So we left that March 5th meeting, gave GH2 and Crossland sort of the directive that we walked away with, and they're here to answer any questions of the council, the committee, or the Friends of the Pool. So.
And I'm Daniel Smith from GH2 Architects. So what Tenny mentioned before, the options that we were brought to take a look at. So phasing this, a phase 1 and a phase 2. With phase 1, it's similar to what you may have seen previously that we've presented here in front of City Council before, with a few key changes. So we've heard some of the comments about the deck size and the pool itself, removing the 0 depth entry, going to a deeper entry with steps, and then we could do either a ramp or the ADA chair lift to allow for those accessibility, into the pool. And so with this, still doing the updates to the bathhouse to make sure that we're bringing that up to current codes, up to current standards, and then updating the equipment building that's to the east side of the site that you can see in this rendering on the far end. And so updating all the equipment, making sure there's room within that existing equipment building so that in the future with phase 2, you still have room within there for any additional equipment. Are there any questions? Yeah.
Can this be expanded, like if somebody came along and said, we'll give you $2 million?
Sure. So the next phase of it, the phase 2 that we kind of talked about, is to add a second, roughly 2,300 square foot pool.
No. But if I had it, I'd just give it to him.
Sure.
Sorry.
So right now, we've kind of shown it to the north of that existing pool, so moving out there. And with this, we have to take into consideration a larger body of water, additional space, there's additional restrooms and showers that need to be accommodated with that. And so with that, in the initial renovation of the bathhouse, we're making sure that we run the numbers, have the additional toilets and sinks and everything, so that when we do add the second phase, we could incorporate those other restrooms that are just to the east of that existing equipment building to accommodate those additional numbers, so that we're not having to add to the bathhouse or more drastic measures of having to tear it down and rebuild it. We can still use what's there. So that 2,300 square foot is kind of a magic number. Once you get above that, there's a lot of other code things that come into play with additional equipment and filtering for the pool. So this keeps it at a size that keeps your costs down and your equipment, lesser equipment that you have to have.
So this is if Jeff donates $2 million, we can get this second one next to it, right?
I would let Aaron
That's
put you on the spot, but I would
That's a
let
question,
Cross.
Mr. Mayor, and he's not up yet.
Well, it's okay. You didn't, I can wait. You don't have to do that now.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But I think, yes, if there's additional funding in the future, something like this could definitely be on the table.
I think this was more along the lines of what we were looking towards. That way we can provide now for our residents with the funding that we do have available, and then also continue on with something greater to provide additionally for our growing community as well, and have a plan to move forward to do so. And this does allow for that. Thank you very much for this.
Now, there's a municipality pretty close to here in Oklahoma that has this exact kind of layout, right? They have the two next to each other and they're not connected.
I'm aware of the Stillwater Country Club. Maybe that's what you're
One of them, yeah. They have it.
Yeah.
The Stillwater Country Club does.
Yeah, so the Stillwater Country Club has two pools kind of side by side for the same reason. The cost of the expansion, once you go over that 2,300 square foot, it's kind of the trigger, right?
Yeah.
It's the filter system, it's available restrooms and lavatories, and so doing it in a phased approach with the understanding that, hey, we're losing value on what our dollar can do due to inflation and construction costs. So knocking out phase one and understanding the momentum the Friends have made is just phenomenal. It's nothing short of amazing to raise $375,000 in less than a year in private donations and pledges. And that speaks highly to the movement and the character. Yes.
Eddie, can I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead, come on up.
Okay, you want me up here?
Yes, please. And then Aaron, if you could switch the camera back to the council room, please.
So, Tenny, when we met, I was of the impression that the infrastructure for both pools would be built in phase one. Is that not what you had originally suggested?
So we were going to look into that, yes, sizing the equipment in the chemical house to where it could be. Daniel, where did we get with that? When you started digging into it, that option, looking at that option?
Sure. So there's handoffs with that, doing, all the infrastructure up front. So if you already utilize the same equipment, it's got to be sized so it's larger. You're having to pay for that larger equipment up front. And then, you're not utilizing it at the best efficiency until you do have that second phase. The other handoff with that is that now both your pools are on the same system. So if, there's an accident in one pool, it's got to be drained down, cleaned, and then you have to refill it, and then wait a certain amount of time for the cycles, for the chemicals to meet what they're supposed to. Well, if both systems are on the same thing, they both would have to be drained. So if you do two separate, you do equipment for one pool and equipment for the other, it allows them to be run independently. So there's trade-offs, both can be done, but it's how you want to run it.
So we were also, I think Tenny had said that we would build the bathrooms for the next like everything at once. Is that right? Is that what you kind of had?
We definitely discussed that at that meeting. Again, turning it over, once we handed it over to GH2 to look at those options and see where the code set, where everything fell with new code and everything. That's where his discussions with looking at the size of our existing bathhouse and the capacity of it, looking into the restrooms to the east, I believe, is that correct, to the east, incorporating them as part of that load when phase 2 comes, that way we can go ahead and move forward. If not, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, we would have to actually enlarge the bathhouse to accommodate the size of the new pool.
Right.
So rather than having to do any constructional work to the existing bathhouse, to enlarge it to meet those standards, incorporating them restrooms that's down below in phase 2 phase hold would be adequate numbers that would be needed for the additional square footage of the water.
Right.
So then basically, Tenny, nothing that you proposed is happening. Like you said, that the infrastructure would be ready, the pipes would be ready, the bathrooms would be ready, and this is a different plan altogether, right?
So if I could jump in real quick,
Yeah.
I don't think that that's what is being proposed. And Daniel, if you want to clarify at any point, I do want to mention, and I mentioned this in that meeting, Carol, it's, the code is a moving target. So just, when we started the design of the pool, we had a code update that triggered an additional bathroom, I believe, or something. So that was something we talked about. Taking into account that there is no municipal funding mechanism in place for phase 2, it's kind of like, okay, today the requirement is 3, in 2 years it's 6. So our intent is that the phase 2 plan is as 30,000 foot view as it is today, accommodates what the code would require today. And in doing that, if, Aaron, if you want to throw the phase 2 back up on the screen here, you've got the bathrooms that are in the bathhouse that you see on the end of the screen, but you've also got public restrooms in the chemical house, which are all going to be remodeled as a part of this job. So the intent of having phase 2 and the fencing kind of open to both pools is that those bathrooms would then be accessible and offer, so you didn't have to go all the way across. Wouldn't be shower facilities necessarily, but you've got restrooms on that end of the pool. So if I missed anything there,
Yeah.
Daniel, jump in, please.
And I'll elaborate on that a little bit. So when we originally designed the pool in, early last year, late 2024, the state was under a different code for pools. And then last year, the state adopted the most recent international swimming pool code, which aligns with a lot of the rest of the country. Oklahoma's pool code dates back to the 80s. And so they've realigned, it changes some of the numbers that we're looking at. And so with the bathhouse, with the phase 1, how we would want to look at it is that we designed phase 1 to make sure it accommodates that, but we're also planning ahead. So we know what we're planning for in phase 2, so we can make sure we have the appropriate number of showers and lavatories within the bathhouse, and where we're picking up toilets is over in those additional park toilets that are just to the east of the equipment building.
So the actual bathhouse is going to be left in its square footage?
Yes.
Good, because it's a historic building.
Yeah, and we want to make sure that what we're doing is the right plan, that we're doing the right thing up front, and also making sure that we are planning ahead with that phase 2 when that funding mechanism comes.
Great.
And it's going to be ADA accessible, right?
Correct.
Okay, because I thought,
And those restrooms on the other end do need to be redone anyways. They need some love really bad, so.
I think the
this-
ones I used when I was a little kid.
This is a
That's
really great
long time
idea,
ago,
actually, to
60
be able to
years.
have them accessible to the second phase if we can't add on, to the bathhouse as it is right now.
So,
So I like that as well.
so it sounds like you're anticipating for size for the future, right?
Yes, that would be the plan, that we're making sure we're planning for both phases, but knowing how we can address that in phase one, and then when we get to phase two, we've
Yeah.
accommodated for that.
And then just to clarify with Eddie, because what I think I'm understanding with what Eddie was saying was that by the moving target is, let's say we go ahead and we prepare right now for the future with the 2 pools and we put in 4, whatever. Well, in 2 years, that number could now be 7, 6, whatever. And so we've just spent money being prepared for something that is no longer the code.
Well,
Yes.
that's no different than waiting as long as we've waited, because the cost of what we were originally going to do on this plan is probably through the roof compared to what it was,
Well, it's not on the roof, but yeah, I understand what you mean, yeah.
significantly.
Yeah.
Yes, Mayor, you understand, at least where I was headed, the same. So, like I said, we went through a code change last year, I think. So, while it's unusual, and we would hope that we don't experience another drastic code change between now and phase two, I mean, unfortunately, we can't plan for that. We can do for what meets the code today and try to upsize as much as you can. But then you also take into account the fact that we want to keep the bathhouse and not modify that. Well, I can only do so much inside the shell as it's existing. So I think you take all those factors into play and you come out with the best possible scenario, which is what I think they presented tonight.
So what do you do about filtering systems? I know there's a big difference in the one that we have and then adding another 2,300 square feet. You're talking a massive change in filtering.
Well, I don't think it would be a massive change,
whole
but
new-
you would be adding additional equipment, so additional pumps, additional filtration, additional chemical feeders. So, the cost, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but
You have to have
there's
to
not a
house it
ton
as
of
well.
savings by enlarging it up front, waiting compared to having appropriately sized equipment in the future. There's some redundancy you can build into that, but some of the stuff would still need to be independent.
Are the 2 pools going to be on 2 completely different filtration systems? So if one happens to break or go down, the other one is still open? Or if one needs to be cleaned, the other one is open?
I think-
Also, like when you're doing an HVAC or something, as you go up, the cost drastically goes up to get into those huge units. You know what I mean? Rather than having a residential size or something small.
Sure.
That's where I was going with it.
And I think that's a decision this group has to make, because you can go both directions, but there are trade-offs going one direction or the other.
Can I just really quickly, I think that it's important to clarify, and please correct me if any of this is wrong, because it's based on what you told me earlier. I had some of the same opinions that I think a lot of the people in the community have. Obviously, number one, the cost. So this has been based on a budget by Crossland. This has not been bid out because we do not yet have accepted plans. So I think that it's important for the community to know that once there are accepted plans, it will be put forward and everybody will have an opportunity to bid on it. We didn't hire a construction company preemptively, if that makes sense. So I just wanted to clarify that for people watching at home, because I think it's really important when they see these numbers. They're huge, huge numbers. And people forget about things like ADA access and extra bathrooms and showers. And all of those things come at a cost. It's not like putting a pool in your backyard. So that's all I wanted to say, along with the fact that this has not yet been bid. So please keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And yes, the numbers that Crossland has prepared in the past were estimates.
Educated estimates, but an A-plus company also comes with an A-plus price tag. So I just want Guthrie to know that everybody will get an opportunity to bid on it, and they're gonna get the best bang for their buck possible. Yes.
Okay. Anything, are we switching over to Mr. Crossland now, or any other questions?
How do we go about approving, or what is the next step in the process for approving the bids for the 2 pools? I like the idea of a phase phase build out, and I like the idea of the pools being separate so that they can stay open in case one is down. So what is the next step in getting the public to approve something that they're excited about?
Yeah.
Because the plans that they've seen thus far, obviously everybody knows that.
On the second pool you're talking about,
Yeah,
the money needs to be raised.
Yeah, so,
Right.
so the city's got funding for phase one in place.
but
And
it has not yet been approved, right? Not
That's
the
correct.
funding, the pool plan.
That's what we're doing.
yeah, so the
Today.
council would do that today.
We're going to do that today.
Assuming everybody's on the same page.
Yep. So if we can get everybody on the same page today in this meeting, we're going to get the public pumped about it.
Well, Deanna's gonna be here in a minute, so I think she has a couple things she wants to discuss as well.
Okay, great.
Was there any paperwork that was shared? Because I have not seen it.
Before this meeting? No.
Paper,
Okay.
in what regard, Carol? What are you looking for?
I don't know, people have paperwork and I don't.
Oh, no, this is just my stuff from
Previous, yeah.
previous.
Yeah, our
I always
intent,
come with paper, so don't.
our intent for
Me.
tonight's meeting was more of an open dialogue. We didn't have a plan. We took strictly,
I just wasn't sure if I didn't have one, but yeah, that's right. Okay. That's all.
It's all banking stuff. Looks like a lot.
No, and I always print the agenda and I always come with my old papers. So that's for me.
Do we have any questions maybe for Crossland or anybody?
I think that these renderings are great, and definitely discussing the two separate systems is something we should definitely get down. And having one, we did discuss in that meeting, Carol, you're totally correct, and making sure that we did have infrastructure for two build-outs was discussed if that was an option. So we did discuss those things, and you are not wrong. So having those and taking them back and making sure that they were sent back to see if they were doable or not. I do believe that they did take them there. So, but being able to sit down and nail down what is going to work for our plan and what the best operational aspects, I think that that's where we'll get down to it also whenever we talk to Crossland as well. And for sure, I think a lot of the public is misunderstood is that, yes, these are estimates. And just like anything else, we are a municipality. They do have to go out for actual bid, and they do have to come back. And, you know, even with, just like Owens Park, we've rejected 3 times now bids, I think.
twice.
It feels like 3.
There's not going to be a third time.
The rendering
That
we're
does
looking at, is
happen.
that the original 1,500 square foot pool? Because it
No.
doesn't look like it.
It is not.
I was asking him.
Well, I mean, I have it.
The first rendering you saw is very similar to it. It's not exactly what
Yeah.
was
So
presented.
that hasn't been officially drawn up yet and engineered, is that right?
That's
So the other one has been, that we have
phase
the cost
two is
estimates
not.
on. I thought the first one that we looked at, that had been
You're
done.
talking about what we did like a year ago.
Yeah,
The first set
talking about the
was,
year ago stuff.
correct. The first set of drawings was at the 50% CD. So we brought the 50% plans to the council and the park board to approve, and that's when we stopped to
Okay.
explore other
And that
options.
was the 1,500 square foot.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
And how big is this one?
So phase 1 would still be around 1,500 square feet, and then the phase 2 would add the additional 20.
23.
And the difference here is you're taking out the zero entry and making it a step?
That was one of the requests that we had
Who made that?
received, is to remove the zero depth entries so that you get deeper volume
Yeah.
at the front, and then we just do a step, and then we could either do a ramp or the ADA lift to have that accessible.
How deep's it gonna be?
Right now, we're thinking it would be around 3 feet where you enter.
And then down to what, 5 or 6 or?
Yes, so the phase 1 pool, the way it was originally designed, would be a max depth of 5 feet.
Okay. Gee, I won't drown.
All right. Well, you still haven't got.
Sure, yeah, and I mean, certainly.
Any questions for
by no means,
Crossland
not,
yet?
not, No formal presentation by any means, just want to be here to support and speak about, some of the pricing that we evaluated, which I'd like to address that comment if I may for a second. So, I mean, we're not a pool company by any means. We have to rely on pool companies in the industry to help us out with these very early and conceptual type of drawings, which are estimates, in that essence. So we're a manager of them. So it's not our price tag that, is in the cost of the pool. It's pool companies and professionals out there telling us that they believe that this is what it will cost based on their experience. So, that accumulates into our budgets. We look at it the best we can. So to speak back to budgets and what was interesting, I'd looked at the original design and the 50% CD budget that we had made, and it was submitted April 3rd of 25. So, I mean, we are about in a year full cycle there. At that point, it was around a $2.3 million budget for the original design. As Daniel kind of spoke to, it has changed a little bit, but you can, assume it's going to be in that ballpark, right? So typically with a year, we assess about a 3% inflation rate. That's typically what we see. 2021, 22, that wasn't even close, right? So it has leveled out to more of a 3%. So if you kind of assess that, you're probably in the 2.35 to 2.4 type of range for the original design. I don't know who, I think Councilman Taylor might have been, you said 3 million, or Mayor, I think, or not 3 million, but 2 million. It's a pretty good guess. That's what I was kind of looking at for this 2,300 square foot expansion as well. Probably another $2 million price tag. Now, that is, no more than looking at what you guys have seen tonight for it. The original estimate was done off a very developed set of documents where we can obviously get more detailed with our budget. So, looking at this, I think as well, I pulled some cost data because we had originally looked at turning the 1,500 square foot pool into a 2,300 square foot pool. So I did have some relevant data from when we did that analysis on it. So I kind of pulled some of the costs from that. Looked about like $2 million. So I mean, if we're looking at all-in costs for both of them, all the bathhouse, all that, you're probably in the 4.4 total type scenario. So I'll echo. I agree with everything Daniel said in terms of the equipment. I think it's a bit of a half dozen, six in the other type scenario with the equipment. You can either, obviously put more money into the initial phase, upgrade the equipment for the second phase, or, that money kind of shifts to the second phase. So I'm not sure there's a ton of efficiency in upgrading it, where you wouldn't, sacrifice not having two systems or, something like that. So,
Other than housing it potentially.
well, I think there's plenty of room in the current equipment. I think you could put two systems in there just fine.
Would we do anything like the pipe sizes to be prepared for the second phase, or not?
No, it's more of a quantity of pipe, right? Because you're going to run your returns and your supplies to the initial pool. You'll run returns and supplies to the next one. I think the efficiency of infrastructure is getting those lines in just before we put concrete over the top of it.
And that is exactly what Tenny had said. So that's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah, I don't think any decision has been made. I mean, our task here today has been to, present the options of both, which, like I said, is kind of, 6 in one, half dozen in the other, whether, you put more money towards this first phase, upgrade it, quite a bit, or push that, kick that bucket down the road a little bit.
Well, I'd like us to do as much work as we could in phase one, because the rest of the money is coming from private funding, and so it would make our life a lot easier if a lot of this had been done, and all we're saying is we're just building a pool. The rest of it has been accomplished by the city, which we really appreciate. And as you say, well, I mean, I know it just gets really complicated. For example, once you've built a pool, are you going to tear up brand new concrete a year later? It's just, to me, it's just more efficient. Tenny's idea was like brilliant.
No, they're going to go right on the side of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we've already discussed this. We discussed this a year ago and it got shut down about building the original pool and then raising money to come in and build another pool on next to it. So that's basically what we're talking about, is do we start and authorize them to start getting this thing put together to go out to bid and we start construction on the original pool, or do we just wait? That's where we're at. I would think that we should start on the original pool that the CIP committee approved, and while you guys are still raising money, and then that way, and maybe upgrade the bath systems and the filtration and everything on the front end, would be wise, or not, I don't know. It's not in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, that's where I was
But I
saying.
do know we discussed all
It's,
this.
you are, to me, you are saving some dollars by upgrading the original system and waiting for the second one to come in. It's almost like putting a 25 ton on your 2,400 square foot house, right?
Yeah,
A big HVAC
exactly.
unit or something. It's not gonna be the most efficient because that 25 ton needs space, right, to run efficiently with it. So there is some cost efficiency of going, kind of all in and making this really big system out of the gate, but you would need, those dollars in this first phase versus second.
Well, like, what was your name?
Desiree.
Like Desiree mentioned, if one goes down, the
Right.
other one, it's fail-safe to
Right.
have two separate.
Right, so that's where that efficiency and cost, it's almost negligible. I mean, just how much it is, because it's either that or buy the second system at the time, have the space for it in the equipment house, and then but the infrastructure's there, right? Pipes underground, stuff like that, like I spoke to earlier, so you're not tearing up concrete.
I think the overall, I'm just speaking general, the overall fear or idea, whatever you want to call it, is that we would love the two-pool idea, but just kind of experiencing life a little bit, that never happens, right? Like, oh, we'll just kind of go back and we'll do this. And then you kind of get there, you look into it, and it's like, well, that's the same price as it was for the first one, and we're never going to do it.
Out of sight, out of mind type.
Yeah, out of sight, out of mind. It's 2 years later, no one's going to do it. And when we kind of look into it, it's this daunting mountain. And the way to avoid that would be to, that's what, I'm not trying to speak for Carol, but what she's kind of getting at is the only realistic way we feel like we'll do that in the future is if the infrastructure is being made now for that second phase, to where all that's needing to be done, if and when Jeff puts in $1 million.
I think it was
or
two.
$2 million.
$2 million.
Well, two.
When Jeff does $2 million, then it's realistic that we can go in and actually do it, as opposed to just having to basically start over again because everything was made for that first pool.
But we as a council can't sit here and approve that tonight. We don't have numbers for it. I mean, is it $1 or is it $100 or anywhere in between? You can put as many zeros as you want on it. What's the cost of adding this additional infrastructure on the front end?
Right, but that's what we're talking about as far as that's what we had in that discussion, in that meeting we had with Tenny and Eddie and Carol and Betty and Councilwoman Gibbs. That was what we had discussed and expressed our concern with was that. And I'm not saying we solve that right now. I'm just telling you that's where a lot of people are coming from.
Sure.
With the viewpoint of the two.
And Mayor and Council, I think, again, part of what tonight's intent was recognizing that the goal would be to have a phased approach to developing the pool, because the reality is we don't have the funds to replace the pool in the condition that we wanted to replace it in, right? We want the same size pool. We don't have the funds to do that today. And while the Friends have made fantastic progress in the conversation that we had in our meeting on March 5th was, how do we get a pool there? Because we're on year 3, so let's get a pool there, and then the second pool is bigger and better. Recognizing we don't have a funding mechanism in place, councils could change, leadership could change, and that goal could change. We recognize that. But at least setting that goal and giving the team, the staff, and the committee and the Friends something to shoot for. Because the Friends are even struggling to raise funds when the donors are saying, well, what are you building? Well, we don't have a set of plans to show you because we don't know what our goal is. So I think we left March 5th, and I'll let Councilwoman Gibbs or Councilwoman Denning jump in, as well as Mayor Ropp, on, I felt like we left March 5th on, let's build that first pool. Get the bathhouse remodeled, because the majority of the cost on phase 1 is the bathhouse and the chemical house. It's not the pool.
It's all the pool.
It's not the pool. But we can't do one without the other. And that's not a City of Guthrie requirement. That's State of Oklahoma. This is Department of Health. And we knew that going into it. We were told, before I was here, city staff was told by the Department of Health every year, you are one step closer to having to shut this thing down permanently until you can bring it entirely up to code. It was 90 years old. There were problems with the Department of Health. They would let us essentially put a Band-Aid on certain things each year to keep opening. So this at this point, now that the pool has been closed, we can't just build a pool without addressing the bathhouse and the chemical house. And I think that's where you see the difference in the value. You know, the $2 million on the separate pool goes a lot further because you're just building a pool. You don't have the bathhouse, the lavatories, the showers, the restrooms that accommodate that. So, and please, at any time, if anybody feels differently, I'm not advocating one way or another. I'm just asking for some direction for the staff and everybody involved.
I do also think that this would give a clear goal. And in fundraising, you need a goal. You know, we have to have a finish line. You know, it would also be able to help with campaign efforts and fundraising efforts. I also think that it would gain momentum in our community for them to be able to see something being done.
It would help big time, even if they saw what we're talking about.
Well, the goal is 3.7, I thought, or 3.8, right? Wasn't that what the replacement value cost was on the?
Yeah, we ran, I think, this,
On the
there was
original pool?
six or seventh
Yes.
rendition of
Yes.
options
Right,
that we've looked
Well,
at.
that's what everybody wanted.
Everybody wanted, absolutely. So
So,
additional
yeah.
1.8. is
Well,
what-
we did one that was repair existing, one that was demo replace existing.
And then line.
One that was with a Mirtha liner, one for the original, one for an additional. So, I mean, I think all the options are out there at this
We've
point.
definitely put them through the
I
ringer.
also understand this, Tenny, too. I thought about this the other day. If we had everything set up where we're like, hey, we're preparing for the second pool, we got the pumps and everything, and it's just the hole that's left. So why can't we just do the, the second pool? So that kind of answered my own, I mean, I came to a conclusion in my own thoughts that, well, because I don't think it's as simple as putting all those things in now in this first phase, because if we did have the money to do that, we could just go ahead and do the second pool now.
I mean, the big pool.
Yes, right. So I don't think we can go as far as we would like to, right, on preparing for the second one. Because if we could just build the second one now, correct? So
For sure.
making sense, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the efficiency is in, implementing things now that you wouldn't have to redo. You know what I
Correct.
mean? Because you also, are facing, budget even with the original design, with it. If we're sitting at 2.3, 2.4, I understood the budget was around 2, maybe there's, more there, stuff like that. But, adding this infrastructure development, to me, it's if you're doing a new filter for pool number 2, right, the big one, why is there a need to purchase it in this one and just set it there, right? Like, but the pipes underground make sense, right? Then, because that would prevent something that would need to be destroyed in the future and cost unnecessary money.
Well, then
Or at least
concrete.
doing that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
What can we,
So where do we go from here? Like what's next?
Well, this is just a workshop, and then after this,
well, there's actually not.
You have an action item.
yeah, we have an action item.
Okay.
What we do.
Can we start, I don't mean to, let me just ask this real quick. Can we start on the bathhouses and all of that until we determine the exact one of the first pool? I mean, the exact shape and look of the first pool? Has anybody decided that we're gonna get rid of the zero walk-in deal? I mean, all of a sudden, that's changed.
Okay, so.
That's up to you this evening.
The reason,
Well, that type
Okay,
stuff we
so
need to.
Brian, the reason why the zero walk-in was asked to be removed is because it is less actual swimming space.
Yeah, I get that.
In the small pool, and that was at the request of the Friends of the
And
Pool.
it does make sense.
Okay, so that's
But-
where that was.
But what
requested.
happens, what's the options? I'm hearing a step in or another device. How do you approve that when we gotta have what the actual option is?
I think Daniel can, or maybe Aaron, both of
You
them.
can't just approve it and say, okay, do what you
I
want.
think it's a ramp, right? Either a purchase ramp or a built ramp, addresses both of those.
And I think Daniel threw in some steps into that picture with.
There were
some-
steps in the picture.
Steps,
Steps and
and you would have a ramp.
on the side or something.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think if you're doing a new pool, it's beneficial to go ahead and do it all as a monolithic thing that's all built in instead of, having an additional aluminum or stainless steel ramp that's set in.
I guess where I'm going with that and I don't want to beat it to death here, I'm going to be quiet after this, but where I'm going with that is the cost of what we had was based on the pool that we were shown. This pool is different and substantially different. And so what's the difference in cost? I'm hearing maybe 3%, but maybe not, because there's additions happening to this pool that weren't on the other pool.
There's some trade-offs, like even, just kind of looking at this, I think we had more equipment pieces and things like that where it was zero depth, geysers, different things like that. That seems to have been removed. So again, versus spending, the 6 months we did originally, budgeting this, putting fine pencils to it, things like that. I'm seeing some trade-off stuff. To me, it's like the last budget, would hold and you'd apply inflation and be at a decent spot for what it is.
Yeah, I guess where I'm going with it, and then I'll turn it back over to the mayor, is I don't want to see us approve this and then it go out to bid and all of a sudden it's the cost of the big pool comes out. I could see that happen.
Well, and I would think where things stopped with this one is a 50% CD set. So obviously there are some changes and stuff like that would need to happen, but those would need to be developed to 100% before we can send it out to bid. I would suggest before it gets to 100%, maybe a 95% review, we put another budget to it.
Okay.
Yes, Carol.
So I have one more question for you guys. So if some wonderful person like gave us $2 million, which is not not Jeff, but anybody, it isn't without.
Marvel, use Marvel. He's got the check.
That's right. Would we be able to bring the money to the table and get in on the initial building time frame? Would that be possible?
Still has to go to bid, right?
We would still have to go to bid, and depending on what there's more funding, we do both pools. There still has to be redesign that's done regardless, based on what we originally developed last year, based on the options that we kind of cycled through in the last few months.
Yeah.
And so, time frame pushes a little bit.
Yeah.
But,
is our goal that this would open next summer? Is that what we're talking about?
Timeline dependent, but I know our construction schedule, we were originally looking at somewhere around 6 months from the day we started.
Right, that's what I've been told. Okay, so if we just, all of a sudden a pot of gold fell in our lap, which it could, one donor easily could write a check. I mean, this is not a big deal. So if we did have the money, we don't have it today, but if we had it before construction began, could we, have things in place? Like, if you're getting bids, are we going to get bids for both designs at the same time? For both?
I'll let Daniel speak to that.
So,
that
if that money's going to be in place, wouldn't you rather do the original big pool?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because you're going to have the money in place.
Okay, if I had my druthers, if Betty had her druthers, yes, we would like to replace the existing pool as is.
So if you guys are getting started and I come out there, stop! I've got a check right here. I've got a check in my hand that says $2 million on it. Are you guys going to be like, okay, like?
I think one of the things to consider is, the design and the engineering time that goes into it. And not having that funding secure, you're trying to get to a deadline that you don't, it may not manifest. We hope it does, but we have to know what we're shooting for them to be able to put something out to bid, and so.
Oh, I totally understand.
So we have no engineering yet, right? But we have design. Is that correct?
Well, the original plans that we saw last April had engineering.
Had engineering and the design and everything else. But there was a cost to that.
Sure.
So when we go to this new plan, even with the one that you're showing tonight, that has to be re-engineered and redesigned.
Yeah.
So that cost comes in again at what, 100,000, 150,000? Whatever the number is.
But there's cost and time associated with having to
so I guess what I'm saying is if you do that and then all of a sudden you come with your check, you just throw it out the window.
I'd have to say that whatever we choose tonight is the plan moving forward. And once they have a plan for construction, then we move forward with this plan until we have the funding for the second phase, and then we start a new plan of development for phase 2. That way, they have a hard plan to go by.
Yeah, of course.
But if we did use the original plan, it's already has engineering and
Correct.
design.
Yes,
We don't
from a
have to
year ago.
redo and recreate that animal.
Exactly.
It's already
It's
there.
been sitting there for a year.
So we do that pool with the other pool, there's not much difference in the look of either one of them.
Well,
So, but
except for
except
the
you're talking how
zero
much, Eddie?
entry and,
How much?
Yeah.
How much are you willing, I always look at it like this, when you're at your house and you're building a pool in the backyard, or you're building an outbuilding or whatever you're doing, are you gonna write a check again for another 20 grand? Or 100 grand? If it was your money, would you write the check? The answer is no, I wouldn't write it. We already have it, we've already written it. I say, so use what we got and add to it. That's what we should be doing, and we should have done a year ago. These guys, we've been stringing along to a degree, and we appreciate it, by the way. Hey, more than you'll ever know. Because you've been hanging with us for a year now, or more.
Well, and they'll hang with us for another 2 years. But the point is, at the end of the day, there's only so many funds to go around.
Exactly.
And this plan has been sitting here for a year from the CIP committee because that was the amount of money that was allotted and that the city could afford. And then it turned into, well, but nobody agreed that that pool was good enough or sufficient enough over time. Well, fast forward, and the longer we sit here and debate and wish and hope and, you know, maybe a donor will come, maybe they won't, we're just adding cost and we're adding time and energy and effort of these people waiting on us to make a decision.
So in
At some
essence, we
point, we're
could have
gonna
had-
have to make a decision
We
and
could-
go with it.
We could have had the ribbon cutting and opening the pool like
Well,
next
now-
week.
Yeah,
That was the plan.
okay, so
Right. But
Should've,
there
could've.
were a lot of citizens, though, who expressed concern.
A lot of
and
it.
And a lot, and the.
But what I'm
pool-
saying is,
Hold
we
on.
start
And the
going with
pool
the same
group that we're
plan.
talking about did raise 400,000, so it's not just wishes and sitting around and dreaming about it. So they did make a great effort.
they
And
did.
I
A
agree.
great effort.
And I think it'll be even a
Yeah.
bigger effort.
Yes.
But we're going with the same plan, build the pool
Yep.
and add another one to it.
That's right. I think all Carol is asking is, I think, and again, I'm not trying to put words in her mouth. If I am incorrect, that's fine. I think all she was just asking was, if I win the lottery, when's my point of, like, when can I
Exactly.
run out with my $2 million check was all she was asking.
I
We're
get that.
We're moving forward here with the plan that we're gonna do probably the first phase of the first pool with the ability to do the second is what I'm feeling we're gonna do. And we'll have a vote on that, correct? Right.
Well, we have the plans and engineering for that.
Well, we have engineering for a zero entry pool. So that is slightly different than
But the ne-
changing it up.
But the next
Engineering
one
does
won't be
change.
zero entry, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I
So-
said, Daniel's documents are at 50%, they've got to get them to 100%, so there's this list of changes that will need to happen on his end to speak to the costs. I can't, right? But there are a list of changes that will need to happen in that last 50%. Are they insurmountable? I'll let Daniel speak to
Well,
it.
and, you know, based on what the decisions are today, if we do go with the original design, which did have a zero depth entry, you know, regardless, there's some redesign that has to happen. Codes have changed in the last year, so the bathhouse does have to be redesigned to some extent to accommodate that.
So it won't be that much to take the zero entry and turn it to a lift station with the steps.
It still requires redesign and engineering.
Right, so you still have to do it.
It's not a one-for-one change. It still takes time to redesign it, but we're not starting from scratch.
Right.
Okay. All right, we're running up into our actual city council meeting. I think we need to wrap it up. Carol, do you have one more comment to make?
I just want to clarify, Brian, that the reason that the constituencies, people have told us how offended they were with the first design, is that the actual swimming area of that pool is 1/8 of the pool that we have
I
today
know.
that was built 100 years ago.
I know.
So you all hired someone to give you their opinion about what size pool a city of this size should have, and it was 8,000 square feet as opposed to the existing 7,000 that now. You are going down to 1/8 of our existing pool.
But
Well,
by the
and-
same, what we did do though, is we put together a CIP committee of constituents from this town to work through the issues of the pool and bring it to us, and they did. That was not we didn't do that. The CIP committee brought that to us.
I wasn't part of that, but I can tell you that the park board was never asked their opinion, nor was the YMCA. The two people that were the most involved in the pool.
That's not true.
I don't know.
And I'll jump in just for some
Yes.
factual
Please do, yes.
clarification.
Please
Two
do.
things. One, the city council hired Carruthers Construction in 2023 to evaluate whether the pool should be replaced or repaired. Carruthers was known for building pools. They were out of the Kansas area. They came in, they evaluated, they sound tested, acoustic tested, both the concrete structure and the plumbing. And so the result of that was some cost estimates and some recommendations on what the size of the pool should be for the community. Now, yes, they did make a recommendation, and I don't know what the size was, but I'm sure it was comparable or larger than what's there, because one, they wanted to build the pool, and two, their cost estimates were higher than what we've been provided today, and it's 3.5 years later. So keep those two things in mind when you think about the pool. We're taking some things out of context and referencing that report.
Excuse me, but you do know the size that they recommended.
I don't have the report here, but I'd be happy to.
It's 8,000 square feet, and it was on the screen the last time we met.
Okay, and the other thing I'll say is the Parks Board did see the pool and voted unanimously to, it was recorded in this room.
Yes, they did.
They were never given the plans or any information. People walked into this room, I was out of town for work, and they were asked to vote on something that they had no time to study or evaluate. They didn't understand what they were doing. Quite honestly, I've talked to several of them.
So two things, just factual information, again. The schematic plan was discussed with the Parks Board in Tenny Maker's office, and I'd have to go back and look. Those meetings are recorded and posted, so I'd be happy to go back and look and see when that date was. And then a week prior to the city council, the Parks Board met in this room with a presentation from GH2 in Crossland, just as they get their other packets a week before the meeting, the Friday before the meeting. Or, I'm sorry, your meetings are different, so whatever the notice requirement is, that's when the packet was distributed, and the presentation was held in this room, and the vote was unanimous to approve it. So the difference between that Parks Board meeting and the City Council meeting was when we decided to pause, change the design, and look at fundraising opportunities. So those are just some clarification points.
Thank you.
Thank
The
you.
only, and I appreciate that, and the only thing I was trying to respond to was that this council didn't put that together. We elected and put together a CIP committee, each council person did, and now you got this committee that's of our constituents. They put it together. These, Deanna and Maneka were part of it.
Okay, so
And they're right here.
we assign dollars out of the tax, is what our committee was assigned to do.
Tasked to do,
Yes,
yes.
so we're tasked to assign dollars out of a very small task on a very large scale. So that's what we did, and out of that, that's where the dollars came from. So if we had more to spend with the great laundry list of things that are needed, included infrastructure in our town, we would have definitely allocated a lot more. I know I would have, Deanna would have as well. And so what was allocated was a lot more than what maybe some others on the CIP wanted to allocate to the pool. So we stretched it as far as we could, and I know that these two gentlemen right here have been incredibly patient with every drawback and every request and every estimate that we have requested them to do. And I think up here, it is our job to listen to our constituents and the friends of the pool and everybody else that has worked really hard on this project, and to either approve or deny this dual phase project and move forward and give the friends of the Guthrie Pool an additional goal for fundraising for the second phase, and we can move forward and provide this community pool and new housing at Highland Park Pool for facilities where they're not afraid to walk into barefoot and be proud of something. It might not be what we all want. We do want something larger, but then we can plan for a phase 2, something that will be larger, that will be better, that will be bigger, that we can all be proud of, and I will be there every step of the way to beg, borrow, and steal for money too. So
I agree.
where
We're
are
at
we?
T-minus
Yeah.
5 minutes to the other meeting, so what's the motion that you need? Is it to approve the 2-phase redraw with a
Or do we do that?
traditional entry? All right, so my motion is that we approve the 2-phase proceeding to allow Crossland to develop the design and options for projected funding on the Highland Park Pool with the modifications that were discussed regarding eliminating the 0 grade entry into a traditional 3-foot entry with steps.
So are you talking about using the existing pool that we approved a year ago and making that a non-zero entry? Is that what you're talking about? Or are you talking
Correct.
about a
Yes,
redesign
pretty
of the
much.
entire pool?
no, what he
Pretty
presented today,
Yes.
What he presented today is a redesign of the entire pool,
no.
No.
wasn't it?
No.
Phase 1 is very similar to what was presented last year.
So our engineering
This
and,
one right here.
our engineering and our drawings are gonna, the money we already paid is not gonna go to waste if we go with that one.
No, there is some rework, but not a lot.
Okay.
All right, so motion and a second. Okay, anybody? Well, we don't have time for more comments or
No.
questions. Okay, cast your votes.
Oh, what's right?
I'm not sure what happened there.
Are you a yes or
It's a
no?
yes.
That's
Okay,
undecided.
all right, unanimous approval for the, what Grant said. That was a lot, I didn't write it down. The phase 1 pool with the ability to do phase 2 adjoining pool with the.
Thank you, guys.
0 entry change.
Really appreciate it.
Okay. All right, and with that, we will adjourn. Everyone has 4 minutes.
Well, no, it's
No, it's 6:35. We're beginning.
Please stand. All right, join Councilman Bothroyd in our pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for our prayer.
O Creator, our richest treasure, we come tonight to make decisions that will affect our city and community. In our hearts and minds, we plan our course. We pray that you will establish our steps. We seek your wisdom. Help us not to make decisions based only upon what we know, but act based upon your wisdom. Please guide us. We place this meeting in your hands. We place our hearts and minds in your hands so that you may direct us, that our plans will be orchestrated by you, and the people of Guthrie will be blessed by what happens here tonight. Amen.
Amen. All right, you may be seated. All right. Got a couple of people here today, don't we? All right, we're going to call to order this regular city council meeting Tuesday, April 7th, 2026. Item number 2 is public comments, community announcements, and recognitions. We have a few. So item A is recognition of service, the fire department personnel completing probationary year. And I believe we have a representative from the fire department who's going to do this one. Please introduce yourself, sir.
Thank you, Council. My name is Drew Heimer. I'm a captain on the Blue Shift. So coming to you guys again today, we want to recognize 3 individuals. These 3 individuals have completed their 1-year probationary year, so no longer a rookie, but wanted to make sure that not only their families who are unsung heroes in their support system, that they were able to share in that accomplishment, but also through this being videoed and allowing all the citizens to see these individuals be recognized for their service over this last year. And a lot of those people may have seen them at some point over the year. So this is along with countless hours of not only required training that had to complete, but it's countless hours of losing sleep, time away from their families, missed holidays, birthdays, and so yes, they have already passed their 1 year by a little bit inside the department, but we want to make sure that outside of the department they are recognized also, because they are the backbone of the department and the culture that we are progressing forward. So we just have 3 individuals. So we have CJ Ballard. Come on up. He's a firefighter on green shift. And then we have Gage Taunts, also a firefighter on green shift. And then Lucas Beaver, firefighter on red shift. And those that are going to pin them, if you'll come up, I'll give you your pins. Make sure it draws blood. So again, the 3 of you, I want to thank you guys for your professionalism. Every day you walk through that door, your attitudes and positive work ethic and setting the standard that we are trying to cultivate as we go forward. The standard is the standard, and I appreciate you, and I know that everyone in the department appreciates what you're doing, and excited to see you moving forward. So thank you guys very much. Those that, if you want to get family, any family, if you want to get pictures up here, come on up, Dane.
Photo bomb.
Yeah.
I've had to read mine several times like that.
3, 2, 1. Thank you.
Congratulations.
I think.
Congratulations, guys. Okay, we'll wait just a second.
I wish I had a quorum, but I like. I don't know where it's at.
Hi, Gary.
Oh, you don't have
I do.
He's waving at you. You're the one. I'm the one waving? He's the one waving at you.
Okay. All right, to continue with item number 2B, we have Crime Victims' Rights Week proclamation, proclaiming the week of April 6th to the 12th, 2025 to be Crime Victims' Rights Week. Yeah, I think we have the wrong date on there. April 6th to the 12th, 2026 to be Crime Victims' Rights Week. We also have item C. I'm going to read these off, and then I'll come down and present them one by one. Item number C, we have National Telecommunicator Week proclamation, proclaiming the week of April 13th through the 19th, 2026 to be National Telecommunicator Week. D, we have Arbor Day proclamation, proclaiming April 24th, 2026 as National Arbor Day. And then E, we have 89er Days proclamation. So it'll be really fun. I'll come down there and we'll get started. First with Crime Victims' Rights Week. There's somebody who's going to accept this on their behalf? All right. Okay. Whereas the term victim is more than just a label and has legal standing and protections that go along with it, whereas Crime Victims' Rights Acts passed here in Oklahoma and at the federal level guarantee victims the right to meaningfully participate and use their voice in the criminal justice process, whereas the right to provide an impact statement ensures that victims' voices are considered in court during the sentencing and, when applicable, restitution processes, whereas including and elevating the voices of survivors makes certain they are heard and seen and creates a path to forging and sustaining community trust, whereas survivors' lived experience can serve as a catalyst for implementing innovative programs, shifting existing programs in new directions, and changing policies or practices that prevent survivors from accessing services or pursuing justice, whereas the City of Guthrie and its police department is hereby dedicated to amplifying the voices of survivors and creating an environment where survivors have the confidence that they will be heard, believed, and supported. Now, be it therefore resolved, I, Adam G. Ropp, Mayor of the City of Guthrie, declare the week of April 19th to the 25th, 2026 to be Crime Victims' Rights Week, reaffirming the city's commitment to creating a victim service and criminal justice response that assists all victims of crime and expresses our sincere gratitude and appreciation for those community members, victim service providers, and criminal justice professionals who are committed to improving our response to all victims of crime so that they may find relevant assistance, support, justice, and peace. Adopted this 7th day of April, 2026. Thank you. Ask you to hold this. Thank you. Okay. I'm also going to do one now for Telecommunicators Week. And Chief, what I'm going to go ahead and do is hand you this one. Already signed, sir. Okay. Most people see the sirens and the flashing lights, but they don't see the person who set those wheels in motion. You're the first responders. Before a fire is out or a life is saved, your voice is the one providing calm in the middle of someone's worst day. The safety of our police and fire crews depends entirely on the accuracy of the information you gather under immense pressure. Because of your diligence, this year, criminals were caught, fires were contained, and lives were literally saved. On behalf of the City of Guthrie, I, Mayor Adam G. Ropp, declare April 12th to the 18th, 2026 as Telecommunicator Week. You are the invisible backbone of our public safety, and we are incredibly proud to have you on our team. Happy Telecommunicators Week. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Okay. See, what was C?
Arbor Day.
Arbor Day?
Arbor Day?
Okay.
No, I'm sorry.
No.
D is
D is
Arbor
Arbor
Day.
Day.
Just did C.
Okay, this is the 89ers. So the next one is Arbor Day then, right?
Yes.
Okay. Whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world since trees can reduce the erosion of our topsoil, lowering our heating and cooling costs, clean the air, produce oxygen, and create habitat for wildlife. And whereas the holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas trees provide numerous benefits such as increasing our property values, enhancing the economic vitality of business areas, and beautifying our community, and wherever they are planted are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. And be it therefore resolved, I, Adam G. Ropp, Mayor of City of Guthrie, in recognition of the upcoming National Arbor Day on April 24th, 2026, do hereby acknowledge Arbor Day, dated this 7th day of April, 2026. Yeah. Kenny, taking this one, buddy? Yeah, thank you. Okay, now before I give this proclamation for 89ers Day, I'm going to ask for a rodeo queen to come up and would like to say a few things. Or do you want to say it after? You can do it before.
Well, thank you all for having me. Hi, I'm Maggie Ferguson. I'm your 2026 89er Princess. And this is Kimber Powles. She's your 2025 89er Princess. I wanted to invite you all to the 89ers Day celebration next weekend. We are going to have lots of fun. I hope you all can attend. You can find all the information at 89ers.com. And thank you all for having me.
Okay. So this is a proclamation by Governor Stitt. So I don't need to read this, do I? Or do you want me to read it, Eddie, and just read what he wrote? Okay.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, read more. Read more, right, Brian? Let's keep going. Whereas Oklahoma's 89ers Day celebration is an annual event commemorating Oklahoma's first land run, which opened the unassigned lands of central Oklahoma. And whereas we as Oklahomans commemorate the vision and resolution displayed by pioneer men and women who opened our territory to settlement on April 22nd, 1889. And whereas Oklahoma's land run marked the beginning of one of the most dramatic and colorful periods of history in our great state. And whereas we as Oklahomans reflect on the brave deeds, determination, and faith that guided early settlers as they built a firm foundation for the future Oklahomans. And whereas the Oklahoma legislature has declared that the historic city of Guthrie in Logan County shall be the official city of festivity for 89ers Celebration Week. And whereas events taking place throughout the week in Guthrie include a parade, rodeo, carnival, and baseball game, as well as concerts and contests and dances. Now, therefore, I, Governor J. Kevin Stitt, do hereby proclaim April 18th, 2026 as Guthrie 89ers Celebration Day in the state of Oklahoma.
Kim. There you go.
Thank you.
See you later.
Thank you, Kim.
All right.
Well, we lost power on that.
What was that?
Sorry about mine.
Okay. Item number 3 is consent agenda, items A through eternity. I think it's A through L, actually.
Move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Further comments or questions, please cast your votes.
I'll vote Strang.
Okay, unanimous approval from the consent agenda, items A through L. Item number 4 was items removed from the consent agenda. There were none. Item number 5 is the mayor's nomination to the library board. We have Cameron Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council folks. Staff recommend that the current nominee, Ms. Marcia Milkey, be nominated to the board to serve the rest of Tammy Halsley's term and for the appointment of another 3-year term. She has over 3 decades of library experience. She's a retired teacher. She's also worked with public, academic, and special libraries. She has an extensive history with volunteering, including the Logan County Master Gardeners. She has actually volunteered at the library for story times with the Master Gardeners and helped out with the library's Friends of the Library organization. And she gets along with most of the current members of the library board, as you can see from her nominations. So staff recommend this nomination.
Just like to point out, I'd just like to point out too on this
Yes.
one that there's a consideration of a waiver for the residency requirement. Just wanted to point that out on this particular applicant, which I clearly approve of. That's why they're on this as an nomination.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further comments or questions, please cast your votes.
I'll vote Strang.
All right, unanimous approval for the mayor's nomination of Marcia, is it Milkey, right?
Milkey, yeah.
Milkey? Yeah, I have it correct.
All right, thank
Serves the
you.
remaining unexpired term on the library board. Item number 6, mayor's nomination to the Historic Preservation Commission for Stephen Harrison under the Planning Commission position. Mr. Kasich.
Pretty much summed it up, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
City Council. Yes, the next 2 items are a couple of our expiring terms for members who have asked for reappointment. After these appointments, we will have 1 vacancy remaining. The 1 member decided not to request reappointment, so it'll leave us with 1 position under knowledge. But as indicated, this would be for Stephen Harrison, who's currently part of the Planning Commission, to be appointed as that representative on the HPC.
I move confirmation of the mayor's nomination to reappoint Stephen Harrison under the Planning Commission position to the Guthrie Historic Preservation Commission.
Second.
Okay. Motion and a second. Comments, questions? None. Please cast your votes.
I'll vote Strang.
Okay, unanimous approval for the mayor's nomination to the Historic Preservation Commission with Mr. Stephen Harrison. Again, with Dan, we have item number 7, mayor's nomination to the Historic Preservation Commission with Valerie Duncan.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just like the previous one, this is to reappoint. Both terms would end in March of 2029. This would be for Valerie Duncan under the Logan County Historical Society position on the HPC.
I move to confirm the mayor's nomination for reappointment of Valerie Duncan on the under the Logan County Historic Society position to the Guthrie Historic Preservation Commission.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. There's no comments or questions. Please cast your votes.
I'll vote Strang.
Okay, unanimous approval for the mayor's nomination of Valerie Duncan to the Historic Preservation Commission. Item number 8 is the mayor's nomination to the Planning Commission. Mr. Franklin Danley. Dan Kasich.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council. Yes, Franklin Danley is a current member. He has put in an application for reappointment. This reappointment would put his term to March 31st of 2029.
Move approval or move to confirm the mayor's nomination of the reappointment of Franklin Danny to the Guthrie Planning Commission to fill an expired term through May 31st, 2029.
Second.
March 31st.
March.
Yeah, March, yeah.
Okay, motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
I'll vote Strang.
Okay, unanimous approval for the mayor's nomination to the Planning Commission of Mr. Franklin Danley. Item number 9 is the mayor nomination to the Planning Commission. This is the discussion, consideration, and possible action to confirm the mayor's nomination to reappoint Zach Robbins to the Guthrie Planning Commission to fill an expiring term through March 31st. Mr. Kasich.
Yeah, I'll just add that with this reappointment, it will fill our Planning Commission. We appointed Aubrey Shore not too long ago, so the Planning Commission will be back to a full membership.
Move to confirm the mayor's nomination to reappoint Zach Robbins to the Guthrie Planning Commission to fill an expiring term through March 31st, 2029.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further comments or questions, please cast your votes.
All votes are in.
Okay, unanimous approval for the mayor's nomination of appointing Zach Robbins to the Planning Commission. Item number 10, we're going to have Mr. Young now. Aerospace Internship Grant Award, Oklahoma Department of Aerospace and Aeronautics. Mr. Caden Young.
Mayor and Council, staff was recently notified of a grant opportunity through the Oklahoma Department of Aerospace and Aeronautics to fund internship programs for aerospace companies and airports as part of the agency's broader efforts to promote the state's second largest industry. The city applied for and was awarded the full amount requested, which will cover all costs associated with this position. The internship will be available to students pursuing an undergraduate degree in airport management through an accredited university program. The selected intern will assist my office with the day-to-day administration and operation of the airport.
So moved. Nice.
Second.
Awesome.
That's pretty cool, kid.
I agree.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further comments or questions for Mr. Young? Okay, just cast your votes.
All votes are in.
Unanimous approval for the Grant Award Aerospace Internship, Oklahoma Department of Aerospace and Aeronautics. Item number 11, resolution number 2026-07, Federal Aviation Administration Grant Award. Mr. Young.
Council may recall that during the runway closure period, the city received authorization from the FAA to use a portion of our annual entitlement funding to repair a dip in the runway. Because the work was completed during the existing runway project, the city was able to utilize the same contractor, the same materials and equipment on site already mobilized for the project, which saved the city of Guthrie significant cost. Contech completed, the contractor for the project, Contech completed both the stub taxiway concrete work and the runway dip repair ahead of schedule. Approval of this grant resolution will allow staff to proceed with getting FAA reimbursement for that work.
Move approval of resolution 2026-7, Federal Aviation Administration Grant Award.
Second.
Authorizing the mayor to sign the agreements.
Motion.
Are you open? Everything open and running now?
Everything is open. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
That's great.
All right, we have a motion and a second. No further comments or questions. Please cast your votes.
All votes are in.
Okay, unanimous approval for resolution number 2026-07, Federal Aviation Administration Grant Award. Item number 12 is public hearing on dilapidated structures. Mr. Noah Robinson. Or Dan.
I'll start it out. Thank you, Mayor, City Council.
Change.
He's changed.
Yeah. As indicated, this is our annual dilapidated structures program that we go through each year. This year, we've actually already had 3 voluntary compliance. Noah will go over there, but one of them has already been demolished, which was on South Division. In your staff report, I had indicated that it wasn't on the list for that reason. Due to notification requirements and that, we can't just throw another one on there for those purposes. And Noah will go over them. There's a couple others that have already pulled their demo permits. The one thing that I wanted to add that I usually add each year so there's no misunderstanding, any of these property owners have 45 days to get with us to get a plan in place if they want to save their structure, fix it up, boy, I can't speak tonight. Get that taken care of. We still recommend that the council designate them dilapidated. That way we have teeth in the event that they don't come through with their plan or simply don't communicate with us in that, so we have the ability to abate the nuisance. One thing I wanted to state is the 45 days would basically be about 44 days, but I came up with May 22nd, it's a Friday. So anybody that wants to still save their structure, wants to fix it up, they need to have a plan in place with us no later than that date. And as long as they're showing progress at that part, or at that point, we'll work with them. We have a house that we recently, from last year's list, that finally is moving forward. There was a lot of ownership issues that had to go through quiet title and a fun process, but they kept in communication with us, and thus, in the end, it's going to be able to be fixed up. So the key is for communication to our department so we know what's going on. As indicated, the first thing we'll need to do is conduct a public hearing. So once we open the public hearing, my code enforcement officer, Noah Robinson, will go over each of the homes. In the past, as we have showed a home, we ask if the owner's here and they would like to speak on anything and move through that process. And then ultimately after that, there would be an action item to actually adopt the resolution that would designate the properties dilapidated. So with that, if you have any questions of me, if not, we'll open the public hearing and have Noah move forth.
You laid it out pretty well, man.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. We have 10 houses on our list for the dilapidated structure presentation this year. Actually 9, as Dan stated, I stand corrected here. The 10th one, the final one, has already been demolished, but at the time of the presentation, this is fairly recent. So let's get started. Okay, the first one on our list is 305 South 2nd. We've spoken with the owner a couple different times since being notified, and they have expressed a lot of interest in selling the property recently in order to prevent it from being demolished by the city so that somebody else could come in with the finances to rehabilitate the home.
And if I'll add on this one, the owner actually contacted me today, and they are in the process of getting a plan together to fix the home. They may eventually sell it, but they are, and so that's why they weren't present tonight, because they knew if they got their plan in place that they could still move forward with the renovation versus it getting torn down.
Okay. This house has not had electric service since 2012, hasn't had gas service since 2007, but the water is currently active in the house. You said the property owner is not here?
Yeah,
she's either here or not. Okay, okay. We'll move on to the next one. This one is 324 South Drexel. As of yesterday, this property owner pulled a demolition permit to have this structure demolished. So is the property owner here this evening? Okay. This one is 408 South 3rd. I have spoken with the property owner quite a bit about this property. At this point, he's still trying to get together what his options are as far as either demolishing himself, hiring a contractor, or full renovation in the home. So we haven't agreed on a plan yet, but he's assured me that a plan is in progress. Is the property owner here this evening?
Yes. Is this house like 8 feet by 50 feet or something?
It's a narrow house.
It's like a shotgun house I've ever seen.
It is really small, but it's not as small as it looks. But it is a tiny house. I obviously have a lot on my plate, and so what I'm trying to do is find somebody that might take it just because it is a fun structure. It's what's known as a shotgun house. So I wish I had the exact amount for you, Adam, but I think it's like 12 feet wide. But yeah, so it's definitely a tiny house, and it sits really cool. It definitely needs some loving on the outside, but what you can't see is it has a good roof. It doesn't leak at all. We put a new roof on it. It definitely needs siding and some windows and everything inside. There was no signs of internal plumbing. There was signs at the back of the lot where they must have had the outhouse. So I don't think it's ever had indoor plumbing before. It did have a small kitchen that was added to the back at one point, and that was a long time ago taken off. But it's just a tiny house. again, I'll probably, my hopes is to either come back with somebody in tow with a plan, or we had a building that needed to be demoed before, and I paid somebody and they didn't quite get the job done, so they sort of owe me one, and this is an easy one. So if we can't get a plan together and a person, we'll probably just tear it down. But it's really cute, ugly cute, but I mean, it's got potential. So anyways, if we could find somebody to take over the project, great. And otherwise, we'll pull it down.
Like on the inside?
Yeah, and I heard May 22nd.
What's it look like on the inside?
Pretty gutted right now, because we did take out the inside, but all the studs are straight. It's the old school 2x4s, but like where there's 50 grains per board. Like it was built quite a while ago, but I'm not sure whether it was in the 20s or 40s or maybe even 1910. But yeah, it's got potential. It's kind of one of those, I think they call them shotguns, because and it should be a rifle house, because anyways, I understand ballistics, but they're saying if you shot through the front door, it'd come out the back. But anyways, it's so.
How long have you owned the property?
I want to say it was around 2008, maybe, that we bought it. And so that's when we put on the roof, and we planned on, actually, it was maybe even before then, because we thought we were going to bring some employees in, and we needed housing for them. So we bought some houses to fix them up, and we started fixing our way through. And by the end, we shipped the product to another country.
Hand them the house with a porta potty?
Pardon? Yeah. So it was really strange to go in a house and you're going, oh, this is nice. This is a 1-bedroom, no bathroom house. Yeah. But anyways. Perfect. So thank you. Perfect. But yeah, I know some of you have been with me on other projects. Yeah. This is not going to be one of those projects. This is going to be like a pass or fail thing.
So you can handle it by May 22nd.
Yeah. We got till May 22nd to find somebody else that thinks it's cute.
May 22nd.
Okay.
Yeah.
May 22nd.
Something.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
sir.
Thanks, Larry.
You could ship it to Dan.
Dan would take it.
You interested in that? Yeah?
Dan would have.
Not this Dan, I was talking about your brother Dan.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, this Dan.
Oh, I thought.
I got other jobs. Dan would. All right.
Okay, moving along. Next house on the list here is 604 South Broad. I've spoken with this property owner quite a bit in the last 2 weeks. She's very elderly, wasn't able to physically be here tonight, but she asked that I kind of relay what her plans are. She has family from spread out all over the country that's planning on pooling together to help her save this home and do a full renovation. She told me she's got nieces, nephews. She's 96 years old, so she's got a lot of family that's willing to step up and help her out. I told her that I would get back in touch with her after, give her about a week after the meeting and see if she'd had time to kind of put together a plan so we could get a timeline agreed to on this. But this house has no record of any utilities ever being turned on in it. That doesn't mean they didn't, it just predates the utility company's records. Okay. Okay, our next house is 612 North 14th. This one had gas service until 2020, electric service till 24, and water service until just last year. I've spoken with the owner. I believe he's here this evening. Would you like to come up and speak? Right here. Okay. Come on.
I'm gonna be in the process of remodeling this house. I've got to put plywood on the windows because the neighborhood kids throwed rocks through the windows. And I've already cleaned the house out on the inside. It's been gutted. She left her dogs in there for 3 months. They ended up with mold in there, so I had to. I'm tearing everything out, and I'm going to be replacing it all. And other than that, it's structurally sound.
Do we have a timeline on what you're expecting?
Do what, sir?
Do you have a timeline on your?
Well, I wasn't going to start on it until after the meeting.
Okay.
Right.
Well, it has to go on the dilapidated list, but Dan will As long as you're doing stuff by the 22nd of May,
I'm gonna start on it as soon as possible.
yeah, then work with Dan and he'll make sure it stays good for you.
Yep. As long as you're working on it before, then there's no reason for us to tear it down, as long as you're working on it before May 22nd. And you have a plan moving forward.
Okay. And there's another house that's fixing to come up too, that I'm gonna be working on.
Is that next?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so as Mr. Tucker was saying, the next one on the list is also his. It's 714 East Harrison. This one had water service until 2012, gas service 2019, and electric service 2022. And I'll let him take over from here.
This one here, if I can't remodel it, I'm gonna end up tearing it down myself and just get rid of it.
Okay.
Because the tree fell through the roof of it. So I gotta get it taken care of as soon as I can. And I'll start working on it after I get done with the blue one.
Okay, do you guys have any other questions about that one?
We appreciate your diligence in trying to get it worked out.
Yep. Okay.
Oh,
We
they just,
appreciate you trying to get it worked out.
Yep, agreed.
okay, moving along. Our next house, let's see, is 1101 West Washington. This house caught fire several years ago, 4 years ago, I believe, maybe 5 years ago, and has been vacant since. I've had no contact with the property owners despite reaching out as many methods as I could come up with. Let's see, it had gas service until 2018, water service till 2019, and the electricity was on until 2022. Is anyone here to speak for this house tonight? Yeah, and this one's owned by like a property management group, an investor of some kind, so I don't have a direct contact for anyone on this one.
What happens if you can't get a hold of them ever?
Send them a bill.
Yeah, our process continues whether or not we have confirmation that they received any notification.
And if they don't pay the bill, I mean, because if they're not even getting that, what happens?
Go ahead.
I was going to, good time for the whole process. As I indicated, if they get a plan with us that we talked about, obviously, we just make sure they follow that plan till the ones that don't, we will go out to bid for all the properties that are not under a plan or have been voluntarily demoed. And then at that point, we will then execute the bid for each of the homes. They have up to 180 days to pay the bill because we will literally send them the cost of what it took to tear down. At that point, if they do not pay, it goes as a lien on the property.
Is there an actual address for this house of who owns it somewhere? To get a hold of this person?
We have mailing
Yeah.
information for the investment group, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still haven't heard anything.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Thank you, Dan. I'm gonna just let you do this next year. Okay. Moving on. Okay, our next house is 1224 East Perkins. I have spoken with the property owner who has expressed interest in renovating the house. He's had houses in the past that we've gone down this road with, and we've never had to see it through on our end. He's always a little longer than usually liked, but progress nonetheless. So we prefer.
And that's what we're looking for.
Exactly. As long as it reasonably takes, we're willing to work with them as long as we see they're willing to work. We know not everyone has the same finances and the same time available as others. So is he here to speak tonight for this house? Okay. Okay, next one. Come on. There we go. Good grief. There it is. Okay. You caught it. Now you have a reason to replace it. Okay. Next one on our list here is 1302 East Grant, and I've spoken with the property owner. They are here tonight and wanted to speak, but they did recently pull a demolition permit to have this taken care of, and they are already in contract. So, would you like to come up? I may have just said everything she's about to say, but.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Faye Stewart. My husband Norman, he sent me up here alone. But this is a home I grew up in the 50s. And we have, as Noah mentioned, we have contracted with the Midwest Wrecking and Demolition Company as of the 6th of March to have my home torn down. And I was in touch with Brian of that company last week and was told that they plan to start the process this week. So, and it should take about a couple of weeks. So that's our plan. Are there any questions?
But I know that's going to be heartbreaking. I know exactly where this house is, and I used to live up the road and drove by it a lot, and oftentimes wondered who lived there, and they had to have moved, or maybe they were elderly and had moved out many years ago.
Right.
Could tell that it was a loved place for a very long time.
Well, thank you for saying that. Yes, when my mom and dad passed away, my family wanted the property to stay in the family.
Mm-hmm.
So it was given or sold to my niece, but her health is failing,
Mm-hmm.
and so she gave the property back to me, and it's beyond repair.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Well, maybe you can do something with the lot sometime.
That's what we hope to do. We hope to
Absolutely.
put another structure on the
Yeah.
property at some point.
You have a lot of property right there, so.
So that's what we hope to do.
Absolutely.
Well, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you
you.
very much.
Okay, and the final one, this will be quick, if the controller's working.
He's cooking dinner tonight, I can tell.
This one is 3421 South Division, and as Dan mentioned, this one was taken off the list, but because of lack of time to send proper notification, we weren't able to bring another house to the list. But the property owners went the proper methods, pulled the demolition permit, and we have signed off on it. Yep, it's completely cleaned up and it looks great. And they also cleared about 4, maybe 5 roll-off dumpsters full of dead trees off the property as well. So they went above and beyond. And then I know they've been in discussion with Dan as far as what options would be going forward, if they're going to rebuild on it, or what usage they have for it. So, we have any questions?
No, I don't.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, thank
All
you
right.
very much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Item number 13, resolution number 2026-04, declaring structures as dilapidated and dangerous.
So moved.
Second.
Sure you don't want to talk to?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any questions or comments, anybody? No? Okay. Cast your votes, please.
I'll vote Strand.
Okay, unanimous approval of resolution number 2026-04, declaring structures as dilapidated and dangerous. Item number 14, city manager's report.
Yes, Mayor and Council, I'll start with saying the dilapidated structures list this year, I think, went the best it's ever gone. We've had some good participation from the property owners, as you can tell. The folks who have been put on the list have been cooperative, and they're trying to do everything they can to improve their property, and we really appreciate that. So thank you guys for making that effort. We know you've got those emotional connections, and we understand that 100%. We hate to see that happen, but thank you for taking part in that. Lots of good things happening. Recently held the ribbon cutting over at the Westside Booster Pump Station. Thank you, Mayor Ropp, and council members who were there in attendance. Tenny and his crew worked diligently to get ready for that event and to provide those infrastructure upgrades. Annual Trash Off Days will be coming up on April 10th and 11th. That's this Friday and Saturday out at the Convenience Center. We've got all that information with a list of things that are accepted and hours. Everything you'd want to know about Trash Off Days you can find out on the city website or on the Facebook page. Guthrie Day at the Capitol is coming up on April 16th. Will be held in the Rotunda from 9 to 2. Look forward to seeing all of you there as we showcase our great community to the legislature. Speaking of visits to the Capitol, today was Film and Music Day at the Capitol, where Mayor Ropp and Justin Fortney represented the city, as well as several of our community partners, including Meridian Tech, were there for a fun-filled day. I understand that there was a lot of loud music, a lot of emphasis on music, the film and music side of the music office today in the Rotunda. Aero Day at the Capitol was last week, and we were represented by Caden Young, who was recently selected by his peers to be the president of the OAOA organization. So that's a testament to the quality of staff that we have, and I congratulate Caden on that honor. 89ers Week is coming up April 14th through 18th. Chuck Wagon Feed will be held on the 14th, which is that Tuesday evening. We are also preparing for budget season. As 89ers rolls around, that's usually when we're kicking off the budget discussions and all of the meetings that go along with that. One of the key pieces of the budget season will be the annual City Council retreat, which I believe Kim has reached out to all of you, and we've got that tentatively scheduled for May 15th at Meridian Tech. That'll take place that morning from 9 to noon, somewhere thereabouts. So come ready to talk about budgets and your goals to set for the staff for the upcoming year, so that way we can develop a plan and bring that back to you for implementation and goal setting for fiscal year 27. It's crazy to even think about that we're talking about fiscal year 27, April of 2026. So, in continuing the good things happening, the fence project out at the airport is complete as of today. Caden Young and Aaron Ryburn were out there today getting some good drone footage and some photos of that to bring back and share with you guys. That's a huge improvement. We've had numerous wildlife strikes out at the airport. So having that fence come in, especially being 95% grant funded, was a huge impact and turnaround for the airport. Owen Field will be advertised for rebid beginning on April 14th. We will open bids on May 5th and award shortly thereafter. Crossland, as well as Myers Engineering, have been going through the plans since we rejected the bids to do value engineering and bring that project back well within budget. So we look forward to seeing that take place in May. And with that, Mayor, that's all I've got for you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Eddie. Item number 15, request comments from members of the City Council. Councilman Williams?
No, thank you.
Councilwoman Denning?
I just want to say congratulations to the 3 firemen that were here at the beginning of the meeting. That's awesome on your first year, so congratulations. Also, thank you to the Friends of the Pool that were here earlier. That whole process has been very lengthy from the CIP beginnings to where we sit today, and I just want everyone to know that the fiscal responsibilities of a city and sitting in this seat, I can assure you, are very different than wants and luxuries. And I think all of us that sit here today, as well as the CIP committee, Eddie is our city manager, residents, we fully understand the importance of trying to keep the original pool, the scale, the size, the history, but at the same time, long-term financial planning is just of utmost importance as well. So just want everyone to know that I think tonight, moving forward, no matter what size, I think it's very important we end up with some kind of a watering hole by next summer for the community, and then we will just continue to plug on from there. So, and looking forward to 89ers. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Taylor?
Thank you, staff. Basically, that's it. Everybody else has already
I know they take everything.
I know, it's all right. That's it. Okay.
Thank you. Councilman Aguirre?
None, thank you.
Councilman Bothroyd?
Echo Deanna, I'm glad the pool is off dead center, and hopefully we can put the second one in and make everybody happy. That's it.
Councilwoman Woods?
Can't. No, same. This has been a long, ongoing process, and I appreciate everything that Tenny has put into it, Eddie as well, and Friends of the Guthrie Pool. It has been a lot, and it has, I think that this tool, the two-phase, gives all of us a good road ahead, and I think it'll be great. So I appreciate it. Congratulations to CJ Ballard, Gage Taunts, and Lucas Beaver in their recognition from the fire department completing their probationary year. I think that's fantastic, and I am looking forward to 89ers and Arbor Day. I think we're planting trees in Benner Park coming up, so I am looking forward to that as well. So that's all I got.
Awesome, thank you. As far as me, yeah, was in the parade the last 2 or 3 years, being on council. If I remember correctly, it's always been cold.
Cold and rainy.
And rainy.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be not, well, it might be raining.
Yes, it probably will be. But I'm thankful for the rain, right, Tenny?
It's not gonna rain.
It's not going to rain.
Remember this time last year we had all the drought problems, so I'll take the rain and have a cold parade. I also want to thank the firemen today who received the recognition. It's well deserved. I also want to thank every group and cause that received a proclamation. They were all worthy of our recognition. Today, yes, was Film and Music Day at the Capitol, which I attended. I'd like to point out that Guthrie is still very much in the minds of the filmmaking community, and we are still a hub for films. And we were very well represented today by Justin Fortney and Kara Adney, so I want to thank them for taking their time out and going and representing us the way that you do. I appreciate it a lot. Last weekend, we had the grand, what we call it, opening of the new Guthrie Flea Market. That happened last Saturday and Sunday, which was a smashing success, to say the least. Had about 2,000 attendees in total, with about 100 vendors. So that was kind of exciting. I do believe they're planning on doing it every weekend this month for sure. Not sure on the schedule for the remaining parts of the summer, but I know for April, I believe. But that will be this weekend as well, so get out to that. It's really exciting. It was really, really fun. Also this weekend is a mother-son dance at the Guthrie Depot this Saturday from 6 to 8. So I believe it's $5 a person at the door. And you don't have to just be a mom, you can be an aunt or a sister. So all are welcome, more the merrier. And with that, that's all I have. We will move on to item number 16, which is the proposed executive session pursuant to the authority of Title 25 OS 307 as follows.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Let's cast your votes.
All votes are in.
Unanimous approval to go into executive session. Teddy, you hung in there, brother. Teddy, wake up.
Yeah, he's asleep. I don't blame him if he is.
Leaning back.
Move to reconvene out of executive session.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to reconvene out of executive session. Cast your votes, please.
All votes are in.
Okay, unanimous approval to come out of executive session. Let's see. Do we want to go ahead and?
Item number 18.
Yeah, where are we at here? Okay. Item number 18.
I move that we allow city staff to engage in negotiation with Memorial Gardens Memorial Park.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Go ahead and cast your votes, please.
All votes are in.
Okay, unanimous approval for the Memory Gardens Memorial Park to accept the donation of a certain real property. Item number 19 is City of Guthrie versus Spirit Wing Aviation.
I move we allow the city attorney to continue to manage the negotiation and litigation with Spirit Wing Aviation LTD.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Cast your votes, please.
All votes are in.
Okay. Unanimous approval for the City of Guthrie versus Spirit Wing Aviation LTD as discussed. Item number 20 is resolution number 2026-08 Remnant Defendant Settlement Agreement.
I move approval of resolution 2026-08 Remnant Defendant Settlement Agreement with the National Opioid Settlements and Remnant Defendants.
Second.
Okay. A motion and a second. Let's cast your votes.
All votes are in.
Okay. Unanimous approval for the resolution number 2026-08 Remnant Defendant Settlement Agreement, authorizing the City of Guthrie to participate in national opioid settlements with remnant defendants. Item number 21, we are adjourned.
Goodbye.
Not yet, Justin. We still have one more. No. We call to order our regular Guthrie Public Works Authority meeting. Again, Tuesday, April 7th, 2026. Item number 2 is the consent agenda.
I move approval of the consent agenda items A through D.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. So further comments or questions, please cast your votes.
All votes are in.
Okay, unanimous approval for consent agenda items A through D. Item number 3 are items from the consent agenda that were removed. There were none. Item number 4 is resolution number 2026-06 Langston University water rate increase.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of resolution 2026-06 Langston University water rate increase for water rates effective July 1st, 2026.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any comments, questions on that? Okay. Okay, cast your votes, please.
All votes are in.
Unanimous approval for resolution number 2026-06 Langston University water rate increase. Item number 5, we are adjourned.
Next meeting.